Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new Materwelon upload. Now, back with the daily stuff since I finally got done with a rather stressful school exam week. So it's 2021, the world is burning, and I believe I finally discovered the most unnecessary, pathetic drama in YouTube history. And it's between Prison Mate Luke, this Harley guy, and like a bunch of other dudes. Now, I'm severely stunned on how people can have no existing real life to the point of them spending the whole fucking day on Discord and then exposing 6 months worth of private DMs that could spark like the most petty drama in any normal friend group, except that it's on the internet and these people don't even really know each other. It's basically just private DMs that should have all remained private and only serve to further embarrass every single person involved, and it somehow gets a shit ton of views. I don't understand at all. It's like the most boring situation I could possibly imagine, but for some reason everybody is like hugely invested in it. So I'll try to give you guys a basic understanding of the whole thing and then proceed to criticize the shit out of every one of these idiots involved. Except Just Stop. Just Stop is literally the only person that acted normally. He made an honestly really compelling video criticizing Prison Mate Luke based on his one-sided content, how his videos are the bare minimum effort and don't differentiate from any other commentators, and the occasional research mistakes he made in a couple of his projects, and those were all really reasonable and fair critiques. But now seeing what the situation has evolved to, I actually feel kinda bad for Just Stop. Honestly, he sounded really down bad in his most recent upload, and I know he's probably never gonna see this video, but I feel like he should definitely know that he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone if it burdens his well-being and mental health. Like, just try to not get too invested into people on the internet and don't let yourself be affected by them in your real life. It's really not worth it. I know his intentions probably weren't malicious in any way, and he just needs to be aware that he's allowed to put himself first if he needs to. Don't get tricked by people that just abuse you for attention or put their problems on you. At least that's how I feel about that kind of stuff on the internet. I actually feel like he comes across as a really reasonable dude, and I kinda admire his content. That's why I decided to add this little segment on him. But it's obviously not just for him. I feel like this could be advice that definitely has the potential to be useful to some people. Regardless, so what actually went down? This obviously won't be a deep dive, and I wouldn't recommend you going super deep into this because it's honestly a waste of time. But as a quick summary, the fairly big commentator Prison Mate Luke released a video on one of his former friends, that being a smaller YouTuber going by the name of HarleyTBS. In his video, he basically accused Harley of being an immense clout chaser. You can see it in the rather harsh title. He leaked DMs on Discord and Twitter between the two in order to make him look pretty horrendous, and it's obvious that his intentions in this video were to stop Harley's channel from growing because he very clearly had a personal dislike with Harley. His video was incredibly one-sided and just not all that good. I'll get into that later, don't worry. So this then caused a reaction from a lot of people, and obviously Harley himself, who made a 1-hour abomination of a video where he defends himself by leaking even more DMs. Then more people jumped in, follow-up videos were made, and here we are now. So what we're gonna do is we'll look at everybody involved in this situation, and I'll show you what each one did wrong. We're going to go from the guy I have the least problems with to the person that handled the situation the worst. Also, as a side note, yes, technically there's also a person called Lexet involved to a higher degree. However, quite frankly, the points I want to get across in this video don't relate to her involvement at all. If you want full context regarding her, just watch Just Stop's videos on the topic. I'll definitely link his stuff in the description. Like I said, I think they're very well made. So the person that actually handled the situation the best is somehow the 16-year-old dude that Luke tried to attack in his video. This guy definitely came across as a scumbag, like Luke would say, through the leaked DMs in Luke's video, and he definitely acted very emotional at first, arguing with people on Twitter for the whole day, but I feel like after he got himself together, he was able to somewhat counter Luke's accusations in a video that lasted way too long, even though Just Stops and Sense videos were able to present him in a better light than he could ever accomplish by himself. He definitely messed up quite a bit, and he obviously wanted some of that clout, which I can understand. You for sure want your videos to be watched, otherwise you quickly lose motivation to continue producing stuff. I can absolutely relate to that. But was he taking it a bit far? Yes, he apparently promoted his videos all over Reddit that didn't have anything to do with the actual content, and he's spamming people to like or comment his videos. But I really think that this isn't as bad as people make it out to be. It's just a small channel that wants to grow, and I've seen people doing way worse for views views. He's just an inexperienced creator and he definitely has a lot of room for improvement left. I don't want to say it's because he's so young he doesn't know what he's doing, because technically we're the same age, but he definitely has a lot of time to improve his content. I don't think you should be too harsh on him. Still, in the leaked DMs he came across as rather unstable and not very generous, but it's honestly the same for the other people involved in this as well. Which ties in rather well with my two main arguments in this video. If you couldn't tell already, the points I want to emphasize are: firstly, creators need to be made aware of the fact that the people they meet on Discord or on other parts of the internet are in most cases not humans you can make genuine connections with. You don't actually know these people. In general, the individuals on the internet will act vastly different than they would in real life. There's a massive difference between talking to someone on Discord you can get along well with and then hanging out with that same person in real life. I'm not saying it can't work, but it's pretty unlikely since people on the internet are a shadow of themselves in real life, and it commonly will eventually result in a falling out. And secondly, if you do get close with people on the internet to the extent of hanging out in front of your computer with them all day, then keep your DMs private for God's sake. All of these Discord no-lives with the social skills of a poisonous potato acted so terribly in all the DMs I saw. They all come across as so unstable, especially this Cameron guy. I'll get to him later. But still, all of this DM drama could have just remained private. But instead of you trying to sort this out like normal people, or like, I don't know, maybe just blocking the other guys, they created YouTube exposed videos on each other instead. Wow. So before we move on to Luke himself, HarleyTBS actually released another video on Luke, and I do actually have to criticize it a little bit. He calls this video Prison Mate Luke, Death Row, Slander, Manipulation and Poor Research. So obviously a quite aggressive video title. However, he then goes on to state that this video is not an attack on Luke at all in like the first minute of the video. Then why did you call it Death Row Prison Mate Luke, you idiot? That really doesn't help your case as a clout chaser. Another argument I heavily disagree with is that he's making Luke out to be a very bad guy for monetizing his videos on serious topics. Now, out of all the stuff he could criticize Luke for, I think this is a very weak argument. What I believe Harley needs to understand is that monetizing a video does not always equal just doing it for money. I do actually believe in most cases Prison Mate Luke thinks he's doing the right thing by calling out other creators that engage in predatory behavior with the viewers. Even though he certainly could research better, he probably has at least a little bit of passion in what he's doing. So I don't think he only does it for money. I think if you put a lot of effort and work into your commentary videos, you absolutely have the right to monetize it as a reward for your hard work, especially if YouTube is your job, even if the covered subject matter is rather sensitive. Also, like, more than half of this video is about Cameron, even though you try to paint it as this insane Prison Mate Luke exposed video. So that's another thing I do find very questionable. But the part on Cameron is very well made, to be fair. I also don't want to be too harsh with the title, just because Prison Mate Luke's title is probably just as aggressive as Harley's. Regardless, he claims he listens to criticism in this video, and I actually do believe there's a possibility he could even stumble across my video right now. So Harley, if you're watching this, maybe think about what I just said. Or don't. I can't tell you to accept criticism, I guess, and if you're at a point where you constantly have to make videos on one another, then maybe just block him or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's actually move on to the main man himself, Prison Mate Luke. Oh boy, I have a lot of things to say about this one. So he was obviously the aggressor in this whole situation, and the points he brings up in his video can be categorized in three categories. 1. Leaked DMs that should have remained entirely private. 2. Attacks on Harley's content that are incredibly one-sided and hypocritical. And 3. The only halfway decent point is him exploiting people for artwork, but in his most recent video he claims he was able to resolve the situations privately, which I definitely respect. And you know, you hear the word private, it apparently doesn't exist in Prison Mate Luke's vocabulary, because he wants to spin this narrative that Harley is such an immense clout chaser and doesn't care about victims at all and just wants to use them for his personal gain. Now, right off the bat, a lot of people felt a little bit weird about this video because Luke has such a huge platform with 150,000 subs, and Harley in comparison only has 10k subs. And his reputation therefore could be damaged indefinitely without him having a real chance of coming back from this. Now, I definitely think that content creators the size of Prison Mate Luke should be aware that a lot of reviewers will take anything they say as straight facts without too much thought. So it's incredibly important to make sure you're never spreading misinformation in your content, especially when your content is targeted at another person. Having said that, I still think Harley can be criticized for his actions, even by a bigger creator. Him being smaller in comparison doesn't really matter. If you did something wrong with 10k subs, you're just as viable to get criticized for it, just like a larger YouTuber would, since you still have a platform. However, the way Luke framed this video is so one-sided and biased that I overall believe he wasn't justified in creating it. Here's why. Harley's content is about the same quality as Luke's, and he should be very grateful to even have such a huge platform to begin with, since his videos are bare minimum effort. So that he's going out of his way to bash another creator just like him is very hypocritical, especially since 90% of this video isn't even about the actual content. Instead, most of it is leaked behind the scenes information that some people might consider juicy, but I just think they're incredibly pathetic and unnecessary. The reality of the situation is Luke's probably a couple of years older than Harley, and they eventually just didn't get along. Harley obviously was chasing that clout, but both of these guys could have attempted to solve this conflict privately, like I saw Harley even doing, and they could have gone their separate ways, but no, instead he decides to make an exposed video on his former friend, instead of just moving on like a normal person. The things Harley did behind the scenes aren't even close to what other people did in their videos for clout. You obviously still can critique him for it, but the way Luke framed it with Harley being the worst person on earth basically, yeah, that's entirely unjustified. Prison Mate Luke failed to look at the bigger picture and just created a one-sided black and white exposed video stuffed with screenshots that make all of the people involved just come across as incredibly pathetic. So he was definitely wrong, which definitely doesn't look good for Luke. Lastly, let's talk about Cameron, and yeah, there are other creators that played a small role in this as well, but I think they were mostly just in the background, and these were obviously supposed to be private messages in the first place, which of course wouldn't justify scummy behavior, but I just simply can't be bothered. So Hatsune, Dr. Demonic, Sen, and whoever else are all people that do not matter in my eyes. Regardless, moving on to Cameron. He needs to get off the internet right now. I think Cameron is just mentally unable to cope with the situation, and for his own good he needs to take a step back. Cameron is apparently supposed to be the victim in this whole thing and the one with mental problems, although they probably all need to do something about their mental health. But apparently he was in such a dark place from getting hate messages on the internet, and I hate to break it to you, but that's just sadly the internet. If you want to make it as a content creator, then you need to be able to handle or ignore those people, because there will always be voices against you. If you can't deal with that, then don't attempt to become a public figure on the internet. The internet has no obligation to be nice to you, and in most cases they won't. That's just a fact. And that Harley apparently abused this guy for views and didn't care about him at all is probably wrong as well, just because there were DMs of them still talking a while after the situation went down. So Luke's claim is definitely wrong, because you don't have to make interviews with someone in order to like him or still be in contact with him. All of this Cameron guy's parts in Luke's video is just him bitching about Harley and saying stuff that should have all been kept private. Not a single person out of Luke's 150,000 subscribers should realistically even care about these petty conflict between two 16-year-old kids, and I don't think Cameron is in the right at all for calling Harley out. If I had to give one advice to this guy, then I'd say just try to present yourself better on the internet if your intent is to keep staying active on it. Try to be more reserved, and also maybe don't show your face as much as you do if you want to prevent messages attacking you. So to kind of wrap up this thing, you, and especially you are all idiots, and you need to get your life together. This whole situation is the most unnecessary drama ever created. You all could have handled things privately and things would have never even came this far. I don't think there is a person that's single-handedly in the right. I feel like everyone has made some wrong steps, and I hope I presented that to you in this video rather compellingly. Yeah, I hope these people obviously can move on from this. I think they just need to stop talking to each other and trying to get out of each other's lives, then the situation will probably be over. And also I think this is probably the straw that broke the camel's back for Prison Mate Luke. He has been making a lot of questionable videos during the past months. He really needs to start putting more effort into his videos, otherwise he'll get more and more people up against him. Anyway, this is gonna be the end for the video. Thank you all for watching so much. I really appreciate it. It would help me out a lot if you could leave a sub or a like if you haven't already. And definitely leave your opinion in the comments. And yeah, we'll see each other next video.